Hello there everybody, this is Krista and welcome back to the Krista Chronicles. And today, I really am wanting to compare, just for funsies, the new indie edition of the Victorian Fairy Tarot to the old mass market version. And again, this is just kind of for fun because this is out of print. It's been out of print for quite a while, but the creators recently brought it back in this beautiful indie edition, and I just kind of wanted to compare and contrast because this is one of my favorite decks. I know this one really well, and just out of curiosity, I want to see like what's the same, what's different. So, yeah. Let's get into it. This is from Llewellyn, by the way, so it has like a big, beautiful box, but I keep it in this bag instead. So I think it would make sense to start with the books, because I want to see if the content is the same. So with the mass market version, we have a very typical Llewellyn book. I love their books. So paperback, you get the, although in this one, usually now the images are in color, this one is in black and white, which doesn't make a difference to me, but yeah. And this is the new indie edition. It's hardcover, first of all. And I love how they made it look like this beautiful, ornate, vintage book. So, so pretty. This is truly one of like my favorite parts, I think. And it's a bit thinner. I love that we get this on the inside. And let's see, what do we get here? We do get, yeah, we get the images in color in this book. So let's see what we start with in here. So we have an introduction. That looks like, I wonder if that's the invocation. Yes, okay. So in both it looks like we get the fairy invocation from Arthur Edward Waite. That's cool. I didn't know he had other poems. Very cool detail. Okay. Then we get into a... Oh, look at that. That's a beautiful cover page. This one we've got a cover page. And here we have an introduction and facts about fairies. This one we've got a section for the Victorians and their fairies. So I think that's a bit different. Yes, okay, so this is a true sort of introduction that you would usually see in a tarot, where this is a bit more kind of bringing you into the world of the Victorian Fairy Tarot, which I do like. A few fairy facts and fancies, that's so fun. Okay, yes. So far, the beginning of this book, I feel like really, again, brings you more into that world. Oh, sorry if you're hearing any clanging. I think Gus the groundhog is awake for the spring. Hello. There's a like kind of crawl space under this room I'm in, and I think that's where he lives. Don't know how I feel about that. Oh, okay, cool. Look at this. We get also flowers that show up. That's cool. And like a Victorian flower language. Is that in here? So we get the facts about fairies in here. Then this is structure of the deck, which we don't have in this book. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of like, from what I have noticed anyway, a lot of the Llewellyn decks have a similar-ish structure to how they do the introduction, where there is sort of like the structure of the deck, using the deck, care of your deck, things like that. And this kind of skips over that a little bit. So there's a guide to the cards. It does get into the breakdown of how the suits are named a bit different in here, so that's nice. And then we get spreads. So we have a fleeting glimpse of fairy, a 1-card spread. The Herald's Welcome, which is a 3-card spread. Oh, and you've got one for each So the heralds are the pages in here, and they're supposed to be kind of like the coming of the new season, and so you get one for each season. That's super cool. Titania's Dream, A Dance of Happiness. Okay, and then it gets into the entries. So let's see, I do think there's spreads in here, but probably in the back. Is that true? Oh, you do get a language of flowers. It's in the back of this book. So, that is there. Okay. Alright, so you do get, it's the same spreads from in here. Cool. I do like that it's all at the front of the book in the new version, but I know, again, this is just sort of like the usual format of the Llewellyn books. Cool. Alright, now the only other thing I wanted to, and I'm gonna guess it's the same, but I wanted to just look and see, compare one of the entries and see if they are the same. So let's just open to a random 6 of Spring. Oh, I almost opened to it in here. Okay, this is, let's use this random bijou sticker as a bookmark there. Okay, so the first part of these entries in this book are, it's a description of what's going on in the card. And then you get when you get this card in a reading. I have a feeling it's going to be the same since we're kind of getting mostly the same content regardless. Yes, okay, both start with, it is the last day of spring. Ooh. Okay, yes. So you get when you get this in a reading, in a nutshell. Yeah, okay, so looks like we get pretty much the same content, maybe some extra little bit about fairies in here, in the intro, but otherwise same content, so that's cool. Yeah, I think that's all we need to go over with the books. So now, I just want to look at the cards side by side. I think that would just be fun. Okay, here are the decks. Again, on the left, we're going to have the Old Mess Market version, and on the right, we've got the indie. Couldn't think of that word. So obviously, for starters, now we get a beautiful 2-piece box with the indie edition. Of course, again, since we've got this larger size book, it doesn't fit the book in there, but that's okay with me. Let's get into it. Because the first thing that really made me want to look at these two side by side was noticing there was a change to the backs. Nothing extreme, but just I immediately noted that because the backs on this deck, honestly, was one of the first things I ever saw of it, and I just think they're the most gorgeous thing ever. So there is a change in this indie edition, but you can see it. I do like that, looking at them side by side now. It's a change, but they incorporated these backs, and clearly the purpose was to make them reversible, which isn't a big deal to me, but I know people who like to read with reversals, that might be, or that is a consideration. So I do think it's cool. Because when I first saw this and noticed it was different, I was like, oh no! Like, I love these backs. But again, like, now that I'm seeing them next to each other, it doesn't feel that extreme. I do feel like, and this is, I'm a bit curious to see this, but the backs on this one, it's almost like the watercolor style. It's just like a softer, hazier style, where this is a bit more like defined. So that is definitely a difference there, if you can see in the flowers. I like both. I think I just have a nostalgia for this one. But these new backs are beautiful. And then of course, as you can see, there's a definite size difference. So this is very much a standard Llewellyn size. And so it is both wider and taller on the newer edition. Because that was something I noticed as well. I do like having the cards bigger, but I do find they are just a little bit too big for me personally to riffle shuffle comfortably in a normal way. I still have my ways that I riffle shuffle for decks that are too big, so again, personally, no worries, but that is something to note. Now let's get to the front, shall we? The card images. Okay, I want to zoom in. Really get up in there. Because as you can immediately see, there's differences. There's differences in the color tones. Obviously in the card layout as well. And I will say, while I do like the effort here in the indie edition, I do like how it sort of makes almost like the scene could come out of the card seamlessly because the title is given that like translucent effect. I do really love the gold on here. And I do think it's a bit clearer to read across the board. However, but I do like the effect this one gives. So I believe, well, no, I don't know. Here is my question mark here. And something I noticed when I was first going through this deck is that I would guess the original artwork from this deck was taken and kind of just blown up a little bit. And I'm noticing this again where, and obviously like the color tones are different, but you know, different printers, of course. But it almost feels like there's a bit of a haziness to the indie deck. Kind of like, I don't know. And like, I can't tell exactly why that is. Maybe it is a factor of making the image larger. Perhaps it made it a bit blurry. I don't really know. It's not so extreme where I think it's noticeable. Noticeable. Oh my gosh, I'm not speaking in regular words. Again, it almost just seems like a different watercolor style when you're looking at it. And I think if I only ever had this edition here, I wouldn't even think twice about it. But it's because I have this one and I use it so much, like I know it so well that when I opened this, I was like, wait a second. Something's different with the definition. Where this one feels like the lines are a bit crisper and clearer, and this, it seems like there's a haziness to it. And I think it's probably just a factor of making the images larger. But see, it's not like all of them. This one, to me, looks pretty even. It's like a few of the cards, it almost like made them a little bit blurry. This one seems fine to me. This one seems good. Maybe a little tiny bit in this one. But it's not, again, it's not every card that it's noticeable. But right away, that Fool card, and I think it could also be because this one I really noticed different color tones going on. It seems like in the newer edition, they kind of just like warmed it up a little bit, which I do like. I do like that. This is my favorite card. This Strength. Sorry, I'm like bringing it close to my face as well, because I just want to see. Yeah, it's really not. I think the Fool card felt extreme to me. I don't really know why that is, but like the difference between them felt very extreme to me in terms of like that haziness I was picking up on too. Where the other cards, now that I'm looking at them side by side, it's a lot more subtle. Like that feels very crisp to me. I think so far it's really just that Fool card that seems that way. Beautiful. Because yeah, you can see, you know, and now, sorry, again, I'm going to keep repeating so many different sentences. Seeing them side by side, while this title is a lot clearer to read, especially looking at them on camera, I really do like this seamless, like edgeless, endless effect that this title gives. Looking at it on my viewfinder, there really is such a big difference to the feeling there. And it's almost like the color tones in here are a bit truer to what, I mean, I don't know. Of course, I've never seen like the original artwork, but what I feel is that the colors here are a lot like richer and brighter, where in this deck they're a bit more muted. And it's almost like I'm getting this feeling like this is what the artwork really looks like. Like we're getting a truer depiction there. Oh, yeah, look at that card. So beautiful. I love this devil card as the Goblin Market. Oh, really interesting. I'm happy I'm doing this because it's almost making me love the deck even more if that's possible, because I'm loving how this new edition makes it feel very immersive. I don't think I realized, because it's just a little title on the bottom, but I see the vision here. Oh, look at that! The image got flipped. Huh. Did that happen? No, I would have noticed that. Okay, so the tower got flipped. That's interesting. I wonder why. Oh, I have questions. It makes me have questions about, like, what was the original? But, yeah, I feel like it really opens it up a lot. And that larger size. Oh, so pretty. The star card. Although I will say, like, this one, interestingly, feels like a true... Oh. Huh. That's interesting. You can see it is a true zoom in, because on the original card, we have a lot more leaves on this side. And look at that. They get cut off. Huh. And I said, oh, because I peeked at the cards underneath, and you could see it's the same thing too. The flowers get a little bit cut off in this one, where here it does not. But then, we're also getting more of the painting at the bottom that we don't get here, which is interesting. That is interesting. So it is a true zoom in, I would say, but also it's like a zoom in but expansion at the same time. Confusing. Oh, but some of this was, no, it wasn't changed. Flipped again. We're flipped again. Neat. I'd love to know more of the process of, like, why. Because it doesn't really matter, but I'm just so interested. Like, I love knowing why people make certain choices. I do wish on this card, I don't love that the title is blocking part of his reflection, because in this card you get the full reflection, and that, like, is the key part of that card, I feel like, is him looking at his reflection, having this awakening. And so I don't love that it gets cut off there. This one, it feels a little bit hazy as well compared to the definition, and I think that's just gotta be due, in fact, to it being like a zoom in. Because you can see that's going on here too. We're missing a part of the branch. So it really is a true zoom in, which I would wonder if that's why it feels a little bit hazy. I don't know. And again, it's not extreme, and would I ever notice it if I didn't have this version? No. Personally, no. So, not to say that I think anything, like, that's bad. I think it just gives this different effect and almost makes it look a little bit more like watercolor-esque, which I do believe, like, it looks to me to be done in watercolors or like a mixture of things. I don't know. I don't know my stuff when it comes to that. I love this card. I do love how it's like so open in here. Interesting though, there is like a yellow tone to the indie deck where this, again, a bit more like muted but also cooler toned. I'm really fascinated. Look at that. Like there's a clear yellowness. That's interesting. Almost, it feels kind of like the saturation was like bumped up. Which I think for the most part looks really good. I think in this card, no, I like it. I don't, like, I think the clouds would have been nice if that was like a pure white. But again, if I'm not comparing it to this, it doesn't seem that way. This is beautiful. I love that card. The birds. Yeah, I really like the greater saturation. Yeah, you can see where some parts of the images get cut off in this new version. Really interesting. I think, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, I really like both. I think there are, as anything created, of course, I think there's pros and cons to both. I'm extremely happy to have both. Like, it's not, I think it's like, there's enough difference in kind of just the way it's built, you could say, that it's like I wouldn't ever, like, I mean, just for a lot of reasons, I feel like I wouldn't ever part ways with this original one. But I really do love how this one looks on the table, again, how it's like the world is so open. And you get that bumped up saturation. It feels like you're being brought into the image, into the world, versus seeing a picture of it. So that is something I really, really do love about this new version. It feels a lot more immersive, which I think, like, oh, mirrored again. So interesting. I'm so interested by that, because doesn't that like kind of change the feel of it? While this is such a favorite deck for me, I will say in use, there were a lot of times it would fall a little bit flat for me. It's one of those where it's a favorite, but a lot of times it was like, I loved the images and the artwork so much. Not necessarily always in readings, but spending some time with this new version, I've come to realize that I think it was, for some reason, this layout didn't feel like it was bringing me into the world. It felt like just like a grouping of pictures. Where I feel like the whole point of this deck is to really bring you into that fairy realm, that fairy world. And something about these new labels totally does that for me, which is so interesting how something that seems so simple can really change the feel of the deck. I love the further saturation in here. I think that's really beautiful. But yeah, I have found that little piece I felt like I was missing with this one has come to life with this new deck. when I'm doing readings with it now, it's like I do feel like I am pulled into the world being built here instead of just kind of admiring it from afar, which is exactly the kind of magic I want from this sort of style and vibe, because this is my favorite thing in the whole world, other than I do love cats. I love cats. But one of my absolute favorite things, like, from the time I was little, I will say this is probably one of the only cards that I don't really love, like, what was, like, the change in the saturation. Again, it feels a bit yellowy, and I don't know why it feels extremely so. Almost like, again, like the green tint was brought up, where I love the cool tonedness in this card, and that the moonflowers are really bright, and those firefly lights are really bright white. So that's my only one so far that I'm, like, looking at it and like, nah, I don't love that. I forget what I was saying. Interrupted myself. Beautiful. Saturation works so well for that. Oh my gosh, sorry for that clap. That was probably so loud. One of my favorite things since I was little is this Victorian style of fairy. You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of the animated Thumbelina. Oh my gosh, do I love that movie so much. It feels like such a similar world to that. And like, but Pixie Hollow, but again, bring it to this Victorian era, which is another thing I've been obsessed with since I was little. Anything Victorian era, I want to know about it, I want to see it. We're mirrored again. Interesting. That is so interesting. Yeah, oh, this is so fun. I'm having so much fun. I hope you're having fun. I'm having fun. The zoom in, because I wasn't sure how I felt about that. Not, like, because it seemed zoomed in to me. But I think it's like, it does have this effect of, like, being brought in. I'd love to know what you all think. Like, does this original version, does it feel to you also like there's a bit of a distance? A bit of a, like, you're on the outside looking in, where in the new version, you're there. That's how I'm feeling about it. Which is really, really fun. Oh, mirrored again. A lot of the knights. Interesting, I wonder why. Alright, down to our last suit. Oh, this card is cool. I love the ravens. I love all the birds that show up in this deck. That is such a favorite thing. Wow, look at that. The colors are so much clearer in this new one. That is so neat. You know what I'm curious about too? So the Kickstarter came also with, we all got a mini deck, which I totally forgot about, but I'm so excited about. Like, that was such a fun surprise. But now I'm wondering, like, do we think the mini deck was, like, is it the same, truly just shrunken down, or I wonder if, I'm curious to see if the images aren't, like, zoomed in the same way. Probably it is. I don't know why you would, like, do two separate files, basically, but I don't know. I've never made a mini deck. I don't know how that works. Again, yeah, some of them, it's like, there does seem to be a bit of a green tone that I don't quite understand. Like, look at the sky there. Like, why is that a little green? I don't know. But then, like, oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Look at the colors. Oh, so cool. Queen and the King. Awesome. Okay, yeah, again, I think there's pros and cons to both, but I think the big take home for me is how much more immersive this newer version feels. I really, really love using this new version again, and I think I've discovered that's why. That's been the missing piece, which was fun to discover through this. But now, okay, I think real quick, we're not gonna go through the whole thing again, but I want to see the mini deck. Hold on. Okay, oh, it's so cutie. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm not usually a mini deck kind of gal, but I don't know, sometimes, oh, it's so cute. Of course, it's all mixed up though. So let's find the Fool. I will say, like, I think this is, okay, here we go, here we go. I'm interrupting myself again. No, they're the same. They're the same, it's just smaller. Okay, had to confirm that. I don't really know what my theory there was. But I love this mini deck, and I'm really excited. I have a plan for it. I want to do a bit of a mild deck study, I think, when I can go outside. And this is going to be like my outside deck, and this will be my inside deck. You know what I mean? Yeah, should we, you know what, we're here. Should we look at some of my pairings I really like? Yes. I think that, you know, we're here. We're already doing it. The deck's already out. Let's look at some of my pairings slash, I just got a deck today that I think would go nicely. Let's look at that first because it's literally right here. Spirits in Flowers Oracle. I bought this because I was watching Shanna D's monthly wrap up, and this was one that was like, that she got last month and was questioning whether she wanted to keep it or not. And I was like, wait, but I want it. What's that? I'd not seen it before. And so here she is. I had to plug my camera in. Okay, great. Okay, great. Yes. Yes. Oh, hello. Yep. Yep, that's exactly what I thought. Gorgeous, amazing, beautiful. So Spirits and Flowers, of course, it's all flowers. But this one, oh, I'm feeling good about this one. Will she ever stop with the plant decks? I don't know. But this one gives that kind of Victorian vibe, and a lot of the flowers in here feel very like English cottage garden, which, yes, I love. I love how these are looking. Beautiful. Okay, pleased. I'm pleased with that. So this is Spirits in Flowers. I've not used them together, obviously, but I had to get that out of my system. So, let me think. What are the other... I know the one I use most of the time. Are there others? Let's just get that. Because it's the Cottage Witch. Cottage Witch Oracle. Most of the time, this is what I'm using with Victorian Fairy. I just think they're so beautiful. Look at that! Oh my gosh. Gorgeous. Like, truly, because again, like, I love this deck. I love Victorian Fairy. And part of me sometimes wonders, because I love this pairing so much, that I'm like, was I subconsciously just making my own personal perfect pairing for the Victorian Fairy? I don't know. Maybe I was. Because it's like, I really hardly use anything else because I just... Oh, I love these together. So fun. Okay, I gotta think. Is there, like, do I use anything else though with it? Mostly this. It is mostly this. Let's think. Oh, I think I have, oh wait, I think, yeah, hold on. Hold on. The other tried and true, of course, Coastal Curiosities. Yes. Yes. This is a fun slightly funky. In a good way. Not funky like bad smell funky, obviously. Funky fun. This is a good pairing. Like if I'm wanting a little bit more just color and just more objects, just more to look at without it feeling overwhelming, this is the one. I do also like this deck with this. Gorgeous! Okay, I hope this was fun and interesting for you all. I sure had a good time, clearly. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this new version. I love, again, how many times can I say it? So many, but I love how immersive it is. Truly amazing. So, other than that, that is all I have for you today. I'd love to know what you all think, feel, and other than that, I hope you're having a great day so far, and I'll see you again very soon.